Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of my video. Moving into Roberta's house. I interrupt this program to tell you these events. I had concern from one of my siblings' foster parents about using their real names. They said it's okay to keep the first video up, but just try not to mention their names in the second one. Now the problem is I filmed the first and the second one next to each other. So when I'm about to say a name, it's just gonna cut to me editing and it's gonna be one of them. I'm gonna say one of them. So anyways, thank you, continue watching. I felt like at first for like a good month, everything was fine and dandy. Like Roberta seemed like a good person to me, and honestly I was relieved because I thought my siblings and I were finally in a good home. By the way, if you haven't seen part 1, it'll be linked down below. But I went down with my mom in Georgia. I just finally thought that me and my siblings have found a safe haven, but little did I know. Honestly, I feel like everything went to poop, because I'm trying not to curse on this channel, when this specific event happened. I think it was like a month into living there, if not 2. We're going to go see a movie at the Cinemark across the street, and Cam, Roberta's son, who lived with Roberta, so he was in the household too, let me just say, and he's honestly quite old for living with his mother still. I think he was like 40 something when I lived there, I'm not even sure. He would go to the movie theaters a few hours early for some reason to get the tickets. I guess he was afraid of them being sold out. He started this whole argument with me from when we got to the movie theater, saying that he gave me my ticket and that I was lying when I said that he didn't give me his ticket. Wait, gave me my ticket. And I'm just like, you didn't give me a ticket, I swear. Why would I lie about something like this? Like, why would I cause unnecessary drama? So he's going on and complaining to Roberta about how he did give me the ticket. And there was another person that was living in the household at this time too, and let's just say his name is Clark. And anyways, he ended up giving my ticket to Clark, and eventually Clark realized that he remembered that Cam actually gave him my ticket. So he just comes up and goes, actually Cam, you gave the tickets to me. And he doesn't even apologize, first off. Like, that he was blaming me this entire time when I didn't have the ticket. And you might think this is very unnecessary information, but honestly, this is when it started to all go downhill at this point, because you're probably just thinking, why are you bringing this up? Why is this a big deal? Well, funny enough, it is a big deal, because like that point on, Cam had it out for me, I feel like, because I just, like, I did nothing wrong in that situation, but I feel like he had it out for me since that point. And I feel like Roberta was, I don't know, untrusting of me now, seeing how I was reacting to that, because they kept telling me I was lying, and I'm just like, I'm not lying. Sooner or later my 16th birthday happens, and I had this friend at the time, let's just call them Sony. I don't know why Sony, but we'll go with Sony. And Sony talked me into skipping my class, like. And this was when I was going to Fort Collins High School. I did not realize, I've never skipped class before this point. I did not realize how easy it is to skip class, especially on an open campus school that lets you leave the school anytime you want. So anyways, there's a McDonald's in front of Fort Collins High School, and she talked me into like, let's go to McDonald's. And like, since that point when I realized how easy it was to skip, I started skipping a lot. Like, at this point in my life, I did not care. I just really didn't. I was this 16-year-old girl that was hurting because everything that her mom put her through. At this point, my siblings couldn't see why I called the cops at my mom, and they were upset with me because they wanted to be with mom, and they couldn't see the good I did for them. Like, but like, they see it today, thankfully. I was skipping a lot because also at this point became very distrusting of me, I feel like. I don't even remember what fully led to that. At one point I was talking to my mom, and I think in the back of her head she was always like, she thought I was like planning to run away to go to my mom, and it's like, that is the last thing on my mind. Why would I want to go run away to be with my mom, homeless in Georgia, someone that is abusive? First off, no, I did not want that. And I don't know why she thought I wanted that, because I tell her what happened, and I really don't know what I full on did to be so distrusted of. Like, I honestly can't remember what I did to break that barrier of trust with her, and that's why I think it was the incident with the ticket, because I feel like ever since that day it kind of just like gradually got bigger and bigger. And I know the more I skipped classes and everything, the more she saw me as a delinquent. She didn't see me as a child that was hurting and that needed help. She just saw me as a kid that wanted to ruin her life, I guess. Someone that wanted to be like their mom. Roberta, as a child, she had polio, so therefore did not have use in her legs, but so she had a mobile wheelchair, like when you drive, I guess an electric wheelchair is what it's called. She was very, 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 very overweight. She could walk to an extent with her crutches, and she could also drive. Everything that just went wrong in that house was immediately, the blame was put on me. Because I was skipping school, it must mean that I'm causing all the problems. For an example, would always yell at me because he'd find toilet paper with like makeup on it, and I don't know where this toilet paper would be left because I wasn't the one using it. But he'd be yelling at me for wasting toilet paper to wipe off my makeup, and I tell him, I don't wipe my makeup off with toilet paper. I have makeup wipes. Why would I use toilet paper? And also, toilet paper disintegrates, and it's not good for wiping off makeup. But it was me. It had to be me. Like, it could have not been any other girl in the house. After we got out of their house, one of them admitted to me that it was her that was using the toilet paper for her to remove, like, she would try on makeup and then decide she didn't like it or just didn't apply it right to wipe it off. And it was her. And honestly, I was angry about her for a little while, because like she would see me getting yelled at about it and she would not speak up. And it's like, well, gee, thanks. I got in trouble for that every single time you did that, because it happened more than once, and you think after the first time you'd stop using toilet paper to wipe off your makeup. But at Cam, knowing it was her, she was afraid of getting in trouble because she'd see how in trouble I'd get for little things. So she was afraid to speak up, which I guess I can understand, because if you know you're going to get in trouble, then why would you speak up? And plus, we grew up in an abusive household, and if you did speak up about something you did do, you got way more than in trouble, you got beat. So I guess I can kind of understand, but it's still, I don't know, I just took the fault for everything. Yay! And you're thinking like, oh, all that you have said is not that bad. It gets worse. Just the way Roberta is, she kind of like mentally abuses you, I guess. But so I was telling Roberta one day that she was making me want to hurt myself, or just like the way she is made me want to kill myself. She ended up calling the police on me, saying that she was worried for my safety and that I had a plan to kill myself, and I had it written out and all this. So of course I get brought to the hospital. I'm there forever, and they found out that like I was okay, like, because I didn't end up in a mental hospital, so they're like, she's sane, I guess. That, or that she doesn't plan on killing herself. But anyways, they had Judy in the same room as me. I remember waiting in the reading room for hours with the cop, and he was judging me because I had my nails painted black, and he was like looking at my black nails, and he's like, so you paint your nails black, I see. Then I'm like, oh my god, stop, because it's like, you're like categorizing me right now as this depressed person because my nails are black. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was a depressed person, but it's like, just because my nails were black did not mean I was going to hurt myself, you know what I mean? But Anyways, I was seen by a doctor. They declared me sane, and I was sent back home with her. She was all like, the doctor said, well, the reason they didn't take you is because they had no room at Mountain Crest, which is a mental hospital here. And I was there when the doctors were talking to me and her, and they didn't say anything like that, so I'm like, okay. But so that's one of the instances, and she called the cops on me a lot, and I'm about to explain to you. She called the cops on me a lot, and a lot of the times when she called the cops on me, she was lying or like twisting the truth, such as with me saying that she is making me want to kill myself, but her saying I was going to kill myself, like twisting the truth. So I have a dad. I did not know him most of my life. I think I found out about him in 8th grade. I thought someone else was my dad, but that's a different story too. I went to visit him, and this is my first time really visiting him. I visited him once in Pennsylvania. He came down and met me for like an hour on my birthday, but you can't really get to know somebody in an hour. So I went to his house for a week around Christmas time, and I decided I wanted to live with him and not. And I got back to Colorado from the airport. Roberta picked me up, and on the way home from the airport, it was snowing, and I was telling Roberta that I wanted to live with my dad. I told her, obviously you don't like me around, and I don't like being with you. Like, I got straight to the point, and she told me no. And I'm just an angsty teenager, so I was opening and closing the windows, and I was just irritated with her because she wouldn't hear me out, and she would go play her music when I tried talking to her, so I would turn her music off. So I'm messing with the windows and the music. She calls 911, and she tells them, and my sister is in the back, and she tells them that I was trying to run her off the road by grabbing the steering wheel. And she parked to call them, and I'm hearing what she's saying on the phone. I'm trying not to freak out because every single time like something happens, a cop does not believe me for some reason. Like, I don't know what it is about me that makes me seem so dishonest or like just not believable. Like, my mom at one point told me straight up that if you're crying, a cop isn't going to believe you. Like, if you're hysterical, a cop isn't going to believe you. I believe it because I feel like most instances when I have talked to a cop and they haven't believed me, I was crying. But it's like, if you're going for a hard time or a horrible moment, who would not be crying? Like, I don't know why. Yeah, but anyways, police don't believe me, like, ever, and it tears me apart and makes me super sad, but what could I do? And I'm freaking out because I'm like, they're going to believe her. And it's like, I don't know what to do. So I wasn't running away, but she told them I was running away. I just needed to get out of the car. I needed to breathe. I was freaking out. I'm like even freaking out about talking about it because I thought I was like going to go to jail, because it's like, that sounds like a bad offense, like trying to pull someone off the road, and I wasn't even doing that. So I thought I was going to get into a lot of trouble for something I didn't even do. But anyways, the cops came, and I am so lucky that it was snowing, because the cops told me that they knew I was telling the truth because they follow the they follow the tracks in the road, and there was no signs of foul play, that it didn't look like anyone was grabbing the steering wheel and trying to take it off the road. And I was so thankful that they believed me and that there was proof and that there was evidence, because I was honestly so afraid. And I just remember begging them to please not let me go back with her. I couldn't go back with her because like I was just so done of being this horrible child, because that's what I was looked out to be, like this delinquent that didn't deserve good things. Or I don't know, I'm sorry, it's just all like so much. But I was just so relieved they believed me, and they told her that if she called again with a false report, that she'd be going to jail, because you're not allowed to lie to the cops, pretty much. It was just so much, and I'm like, at this point I felt like I couldn't trust anybody, and this is the first time that a police officer has ever believed me, and that was a lot for me. But there's like this other instance, I don't remember why this happened, but she kicked me out of the house, and I know for a fact it's illegal to kick a kid out of the house. And I know that for a reason, and that is a different story. But I am dating Miguel during all of this, by the way. And anyways, I don't even remember why she kicked me out. But I do remember telling Miguel about it, and Miguel's dad was like, do you want us to go get you? And I told him that they shouldn't, because she would probably say that you guys kidnapped me, you know, because this is the type of person that she is. And so he messaged her, and she said no, that they couldn't come get me. So I was just at the library. I know I went back at one point because I was afraid that she was going to call the cops and say I ran away because this is the type of person that she is. She will lie and say I ran away when she kicked me out. So I kind of like egged her on for the window, and I had it like on a voice memo, and I was yelling at her, and I'm like, so you're really kicking me out? She goes, and she's ignoring me. She goes, yes, eventually. Yes, I'm kicking you out. And I'm like, good, I got that on a voice memo, so you can't lie to the cops saying I ran away. And I could see her face, and her face kind of just went, oh crap. Like, and I was like, I am so glad I did that, because obviously from her reaction, that was her plan. That was her plan. Eventually, she had me come back in, and of course I had to. That is just some of the events that had happened. There were a few situations where Roberta did become violent, such as one example. I know we were like having an argument earlier that day, but I went to reach over her for something, and she slapped me across the face for doing that. I didn't even do anything. I was reaching over her to like grab a piece of cheese or something, and she slapped me across the face. Then there were other instances, like when I told you she was in a mobile wheelchair. She'd like go really fast and run over my feet with it. She would do that with my siblings too. And then when one of them weren't acting right, she would get on her crutches and hit them with her crutches. I decided to cut out the last bit of the story. The reason behind that is because I felt like I went into a little too much detail about my siblings' side of the story, and that is not my story to tell. That is their story, and I don't know, they want that out there, and you know, it's just not up to me to tell everybody that part of it. So I was just pretty much explaining why we were no longer in the home, why DHS decided to take us out of the home. And that is because of the reasons I listed in this video, and also because of concerns of Pam conditioning one of my siblings. And that's about as much as I can get into it. But anyways, thank you for watching. There will be a video that will be coming up next about me living with my boyfriend's dad. So stay tuned for that. Please like and subscribe.